If you need help understanding how to power your pedals, I'm going to show you 4 ways: with a battery, an AC adapter, a daisy chain, and a pedal power supply. So let's start with a 9-volt battery. Using a 9-volt battery to power your pedal is definitely less common, as not all pedals power with batteries, and less are being made with this option. Probably because 1, it takes up too much space to add this feature. 2, it's super inconvenient to unscrew a pedal and to add or remove a battery. And 3, it's not a reliable way to power your pedal. Now, older pedals have this option, and it might seem like a really great way to power your pedal without having to deal with more cables, or you might not have a power outlet to plug into, which are super valid reasons. But in the long run, it can be more costly, as battery costs can add up. And you're quickly going to realize that a battery's power will run out through usage, or simply by leaving your instrument cable plugged into your pedal. So here are some pros and cons of using a 9-volt battery. Pros: it's small and compact, and a power outlet is not needed. But the cons really do outweigh the pros here. Less pedals use batteries. They die quickly, especially if you have a cable plugged in. It can be more costly in the long run, and most importantly, it is a super unreliable source. Next, we have the AC adapter. An AC adapter is a really great way to start off if you need to power one pedal. All you need to do is plug in the AC adapter to the pedal and it's ready to go. Just make sure that the voltage of your pedal matches the voltage of your power supply. Most pedals are 9 volts, but some may be 12 volts or higher. So take a look at your pedal or its manual to see what voltage is needed, and make sure that the AC adapter matches as well. Here's some pros and cons of using an AC adapter. Pros: super cost efficient and really easy to set up. As far as cons, there really aren't any cons, but you'll definitely need to find an alternative power supply once you start getting into more than 2 or 3 pedals. Which brings us to the daisy chain. Using a daisy chain is a cost-efficient way to supply power to multiple pedals, and all you need to do is grab your AC adapter, connect it to the additional daisy chain cable, which then connects to your pedals. This is an easy way to connect anywhere from 2 to 10 pedals at the same time, but I really don't recommend connecting too many pedals here. 1, because you're going to notice unwanted noise or hum, especially if you start to add more pedals. And 2, if something goes wrong with the power, or a pedal in the chain disconnects or dies for whatever reason, it can kill your entire board and you will have no sound. This is a horrible scenario in a live situation. Using a daisy chain is an easy and cost-efficient way to supply power. So instead of using 3 AC adapters to power 3 pedals, 1 AC adapter with a daisy chain can supply power to all 3 pedals. But you want to make sure that the voltage of the pedals matches the voltage of the AC adapter. For example, if 2 pedals require 9 volt and 1 pedal requires 12 volt, you cannot include the 12 volt pedal into the daisy chain. And if you try, you're going to notice you're not going to get any sound or possibly damage your pedals. Another important thing to mention here is that pedals do need a certain amount of current draw to run fully. For example, let's say you have 3 pedals and each need 100 milliamps of current draw. That's 300 milliamps total needed from the AC adapter power supply. So in this case, you want to make sure that the AC adapter has at least 300 milliamps of current, but preferably a little more to give you some room to give full power to each pedal. And you may have to do some math here to make sure it's all working, but you should be okay for the most part. You can find the current draw needed on the pedal itself or its manual, and also don't forget to check the current output of the AC adapter to make sure it can all work together. So here's some pros and cons of using a daisy chain. Pros: it's cost efficient and really easy to set up. As far as cons, it can get noisy, especially once you start adding more pedals into the mix here. The entire board can die or lose sound, and you can't mix pedals with different voltages here. Also, weak or low sound due to not having sufficient current to fully power pedals. And finally, we have a pedal power supply. A pedal power supply is next level pedal power and the most reliable way to power your pedals. You can power anywhere from 5 to 10 pedals, maybe more, depending on the power supply you get. All you need to do is connect the DC cable adapters to the pedal power supply and connect the other ends to the pedals. And then connect the power cable to the power supply, and bam, you got power. A pedal power supply usually has sufficient current needed for all your pedals and may have the option to change the voltage. and most are equipped with noise isolation, which eliminates that unwanted noise or hum. And if a pedal on your board dies or disconnects, the other pedals should still continue to work. This option pretty much covers all of the cons of the daisy chain. It's definitely the most expensive way to supply power to your pedals, but with a much more reliable source. So here are some of the pros and cons of using a pedal power supply. Pros: you have multiple voltage or current outputs. You're gonna have steady power. You're gonna have noise isolation, which eliminates that hum or noise. And you're gonna have a reliable source. As far as cons, it can definitely be the most expensive, and it can be a very bulky item. So you're gonna wanna make sure that you can fit it properly, either on top of your board or tucked away underneath it. Once you start adding pedals to color your instrument's sound, it can be a really overwhelming process finding out what works for you. I have supplied power to my pedals in all the ways I just described, and it's definitely something I needed to go through to understand how pedal power works. I found that cost, pedal board space, and reliability were the three main factors that helped me determine my decision when choosing what worked for me. Let me know what works for you, or if you found an alternative way.